Hey, greetings everybody. It is time to take a look at a character. This might be the final judgment. I could look it up. But that's really not necessary. We're talking about Kine's version of mobile. And for people wondering what this rollout, if it's anything that JP done it could be the exact same for Shadowlinks. If Shadowlinks came to mobile and got a purchasable bundle, this character, and yeah, that's totally fine. Because both of these characters are low-cost characters and generally pretty good deals in the wide span of what can happen trying to get a Wotv character. That's fine, as I've said, but let's get one thing straight. This isn't Dario. This isn't a must-have character. For the most part, if you're trying to get this character or Shadowlinks' version, both of them are mostly what you're doing because you want to partake in a specific team, or you're looking for like a lower cost unit and should bolster for low cost events. You care, or if you just like the character. Those are the situations. For people who are on a relatively budget with just not that many resources to spend, this is probably a incredibly safe skip week for you guys to just kind of wait it out for another character. If it's any indication, Dario, for what Dario was like for JP, that's probably the one. I wouldn't even say Fang at this point. That's just the situation it is. But we're also going to talk about the net positives, where this character has shown up on JP, and whether or not I think that she's generally good. It is kind of a little bit of a final judgment, seeing how much later it is. But yeah, version a Dark Fist character that's 70 cost, so it could be pretty obvious why you would get good movement capabilities, and looks at her count. Some stuff that's kind of interesting, but reaction block, many new characters have it, so it's not necessary. The big thing is the idea of up and messing with. She has ways of reducing physical damage. She has ways of strike-based character, and other spell can heal herself. She has hit percentage, and she's not really an evasion character. You can run her as but that's doing her. For the most part, what you do want to is like her 8 down, while two other characters, potentially 80 style characters, this character effectively kind of just uses hate down to not be a major focus. Pretty well for it. In terms of teams that we've seen AP, I guess just jumping over a little bit because I've already kind of the major kit, or at least the ones that stick out the most. For the most part, you're kind of a character with a strike base. As for putting her on dark, you can, but she really is irremarkable in the same way that Fang is kind of irremarkable. Both of them are in generally strong elements, strong vision cards that most players can access, at least more frequent, which has put Thunder and Dark just generally. But neither Fang nor not supposed to be a Fang video. He's an A. Here, he's own whatever. Neither of these characters are bringing a lot to their element. You're kind of just looking for their damage type them to be. This one, it's strike. And for the time that she's out, this character was featured a lot of evasion and strike part, and especially with two and Bridal Alaya. That was kind of that pretty a fairly good composition for low cost. The teams that I've seen tested against it were, pretty not great. That being said, if this ever becomes too much of a thing, I think that it's fairly easy to counter. And of like full cost weeks when people are running just all 100 cost units, it doesn't out as there's plenty of ways of killing this character off and killing her teammates too. And 2P stock with how strong wind is has definitely knocked down a considerable amount. Not so much that it's impossible to characters, just Earth isn't kind of been super PvP or team friendly as from where I. This character has, for the most part, disappeared or into newer characters, but you see her generally. Could be that she's more of a favorite character on JP, but I think generally her pretty deep all around. That's what you're left with. Left with here, fairly decent. There may be 80s. You don't really need to build this character as evasion. Just generally strong as you here in this party. This is obviously not the most common one, but as I've said, I really don't see that strike team that often. It just feels maybe in terms of on 3 a little too counter, just anti-strike or just in general, which feeling pretty. So yeah, that's kind of the situation with the character. I think if you're going to invest, just invest, be happy. Enjoy the fact that this character has gotten a newer version and a more updated and theoretically a much more. In talking about the vision card, if this card is anything, then you could also be getting the Fated Confrontation first copy free, which is good. I'm over the moon, but it generally works out pretty nice as a card that you just get and then kind of need to win a max. Okay, that's generally. But I do see that there's one other. Well, you got raid boss revival, you got 50, blah 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 blah. So let's talk about the other thing that you guys are looking forward to, which is Water Veritas. Now, Water Veritas is going to be a much more high side of miserable to unlock, and even more miserable to maximum. This character is not super friendly for most players to get, and will, if anything, like what happened on, and it could be just a miserable couple of weeks, first few in arena, because all of this character's shards, except for just going through the barrack, which you are obtained through arena coin, and on JP get 5 arena coins per day by doing your 5 first matches. And then after that, it's weekly ranking. And the ranking has gone in JP, so this character counts insanely powerful. There's a high desire to get, compete and get the rewards for. Top 10 does give you 120, which is greatly, but you are looking at multiple weeks to get there. For most players, you're probably going to be around the 1,000 to 5,000, about 60. The diminishing return, how much work it top 10, this may not be worth it. But hey, somebody's got to get it. Here's a question: if everybody died, like if we organized it so that everybody had the exact same, that everyone tied for first place, anyway, pointless discussion there. Long story short, for people who, like me, are big fans of water rarities, settle in for the long run because it's not going to be a short grind. It is probably going to be a long grind considering the number of weeks. Even with my motivation has dropped off over the last few weeks because it is just ridiculous. And for people who are wanting to maximize this character, well, you can't use anything else except for barracks, and that is going to only up a tiny bit. So keep that in mind. Well, best of luck to those of you who are going to try, and remember, thanks so much for watching. Take care.